Welcome to another video. My name is Daniel and I'm going to talk to you about one fundamental thing that people are missing when it comes to space, and that's space tourism and space travel. So as you know, I am an outdoors nature person. Most of the videos is being out in nature, and this is been one of my path to understanding nature and how things are connected together. And then I study HR, in this case is project management. That is a very big term, and this is perhaps what it takes within engineering to make something like the Saturn V rocket. It takes a very good project management. And I think the big project here is not about reusability of the rockets. That is very important, but I think my point, it comes, you all began looking at this picture here. This is one of the first pictures we took. The astronauts took the time to take picture back to Earth, and this is very fundamental and very important, and this is what people are missing. It's not the moon, it's not Mars, it's not the reusable rockets. It is one thing that I think it will change the world for good. If you hear to persons like Michael Jackson with the Heal the World, or Michael Jackson song called Man in the Mirror, try to hear that song and then you realize what I am about to tell you right now. When the astronauts took the picture to Earth, they look at the mirror themselves. They are looking at me. We came from Earth. Earth is part of the universe. This is the overview effect. The overview effect is what both astronauts from Apollo have told us, and this is also what astronauts at the International Space Station tell us. It's a sense of beautifulness, amazing spheres that kind of resolve our problems in a good way. We understand now that Earth is a spaceship, and we call us Mother Earth, and we are floating in it. But this is also a communication problem. This is a preference problem, because many in Earth don't understand that, and there's been a lack of time between the space shuttle and the reusability with the space shuttle and space tourism. This lack has created a further distance from people and nature, and there's polarizing conflicts and politics, and people don't believe in science anymore, and there's a problem with school and whatever. So we kind of hear Michael Jackson's song, oh, it's a beautiful song, and go to the next one. But here is where things get more excited, because it's not about getting too permanent to the moon again. This is part of the idea, and it's not to reaching Mars and putting a flag there. It's not about that. The true values happens when normal people, and it could be very rich people at start, because a ticket for Virgin Galactic costs $250,000. Well, if I take a loan, I would probably could travel there, but I think people with perhaps more power that we think are more important should travel first and tell us. And as many people do that, the price for the ticket is going to be cheaper. And the true goal is to make people fly, like Virgin Galactic has planned, and also Blue Origin, and probably SpaceX also with the Starship, is to fly to lower orbit so they can experience the same thing that astronaut or pioneers astronauts, because there's a very big difference between the path to become a pioneer astronaut and a future astronaut. That is going to be regular persons and probably even lighter train that the one on the space shuttle done when they were straining to become a shuttle astronaut. So it's going to be more secure and easier to become a future astronaut. And right now, if you have the money, that's for sure. But I think this is very important for them to get to lower orbit, because then you create the preference, the communication that people can share. I think it's very important that SpaceX also take the dear moon to travel from Earth with the Starship around. This, I think, is very important in order to make that happen. We put a lot of artists there, because I think that project is going probably to be very, very important for the world, and how it will affect to us to travel to space and enable space tourism, so it could be more of a thing. And then we know, when we have the power to be up in space, regular people, that we can move our values from Earth where it kind of fits better for us. And that could be oil industry to Mars, or industry to the moon, and making Earth a greener place again, and a healthy Earth again, not like we are doing now, because it's killing our planet. We have the same problem when it comes to the scuba diver community. There is a documentary on Netflix where it thinks it starts actually with more people looking up into space, but we have an alien world here itself, and it's true. But in space you actually understand it all, also, and it can make it kind of giving the narrator is kind of giving the answer to himself, that you need to focus to space in order to focus more on like scuba diving and the marine ocean and healing the corals. But there's a person there would have a very big problem telling people that it's a climate change, and many kind of react not as he wanted, because it's kind of they don't want to do nothing with the climate change, and it presented on a PowerPoint is not the same as being a scuba diver. I'm a scuba diver, and I know very well from skydiving, from scuba diving in the Philippines, that everything, when you float, you can feel like flying, and you can see when the photosynthesis and the sunlight reflects the corals, you kind of breathe, and you kind of breathe with it, and you can feel it. There's another documentary where the octopuses come in one person that is actually been there all the time with the octopus. You have to see that. It's a really nice documentary, and I kind of feel the shame for eating octopus as a Spanish tapa. But I think we need to bring more space, due to understand, give the preference to people. I think it's easier to go up space, to be paying for something that is classy, and that many people talk about the next space tourism, that it is to go scuba diving. I think it's actually easier, and it will be easier for the next years, but it needs to be safe. And I think Virgin Galactic, that has lost a pilot, have learned that. Very difficult time for them. I don't think SpaceX has the explosions and some things, but hopefully they can make a safe flight for a starship that can probably carry a lot of people, and that's really what we want. We want cheap and big and many people as possible to travel the world. So I'm kind of very looking forward to see the space, the starship take off when it's finished. Also for Blue Origin, to make its bigger rockets and start to take people out in space. I think it's very important, and I think that's the way you make also people move to Mars and establish the industry there. And I think it's also easier to establish Artemis project colonies and workforce on the moon. And I think space tourism, it has enormous values to the world, and I think will affect probably the politics and the borders that we have at the world. I think it will probably hopefully change the climate change issue that many people are really struggling to make the change. So I think it starts with space tourism actually. And this is probably what I'm going to work with rest of my life when I'm finishing studying, is to see if I can make people travel to space, and for everyone, and hopefully as cheap as possible. Kind of doing the same Tesla strategy, you know. You always start with the Roadster, that's an expensive car, and then move to the X, and you can get the Model 3 that is perhaps more cheaper, not very cheap, but is cheaper, and they open the patents so every other car company can also go in and make electric cars. I think that's I think space is going to be also a really impactful for the car industry in order to change to be more efficient and move away from the coal and oil industry. You know, coal. We started with silver in the 1400s. Spain, the trade from Latin America, silver with boats, and then we started to go to China, the Philippines, and ignoring the culture, destroying the culture, and trading silver. And we kind of doing the same thing, and as soon after silver it came coal and oil and all other texture like spices and everything. But this is what kind of an innovation. This is what kind of started the industrial revolution in the UK mostly, with the trades from Spain and Portugal. But we kind of being a little bit stuck on this system, because the industrial revolution gave us possibilities, and it was good back then in the 1400s, and then all into the 60s. we started to realize that we need to change our way. And now it's really there when we have to change the way in a specific day. And we need like kind of a new industrial revolution, but it will happen in space, believe me. And that will change the way of being. And this is the way to move and use capitalism in a good way. We move into the rest of the world, we expand our consciousness and make multiplanetary species like Elon says. This is the way how to do it. And then we establish the new industrial revolution, where space rockets are the new innovation and interplanetary trains, like trains was in the first industrial revolution. So you have to see it the same way, and then you understand how this is more of a natural process for us humans to do now that we have the technology than it was perhaps in the 60s or in the 80s when we had the space shuttle. We should have starships and Virgin Galactic by now, but this is probably, it takes some years to realize that we need space tourism and space travel as much as we do it now. Okay, so this video is now 60 minutes long, so I hope this probably make you have a good point of view and you agree with me. And this is why we need space tourism. Buy yourself a ticket to Virgin Galactic if you don't can afford that. Take a scuba diving lesson, go out to nature, and yeah, learn about the world and the universe, because I think it's an exciting time to be alive. And I hope it could be the same for the next generations to come as well. Okay, bye.